Okay. Good day. My name is Ernest Beyiza Shongwe. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm here to present a project, an e-commerce platform. Um, I titled it as NeXtro, in terms of using my name and the tro being distribution and store kind of. So, but ultimately, what Nextdoor is all about. Like I said, it's an e-commerce platform. So out of what I'll be using, what I plan to gain from this is that I want to gain proficiency in full stack development, particularly in the MERN stack. By MERN, we're talking about MongoDB, we're talking about Express, we're talking about React and Redux, which is part of what I used, and then obviously be using Node for the backend. Um, yes, I will also be using GitHub and GitLab. So part of that is I want to actually exercise everything that ALX has given us. Part of DevOps, yes, backend, front end, but all that will encompass what a full stack engineer is all about. Okay, so like I said, the technologies that I'll be using is Redux, and I'll also be using React.js. Excuse me. I'll also be using a library called React Router, which will form part of the API. And I'll also be using Tailwind CSS for um, the CSS part of the front end, the client side. Okay, and then on the back end, I'll be using Node.js. Like I said, I'll be using Express.js, MongoDB for the database, which is a NoSQL database. And then I'll also be using Mongoose, which is a library that allows MongoDB to function. I'll also be using JSON Web Tokens, which I'll be using for authentication. And I'll also be using uh, Git and GitLab and GitHub for version control, and which will also form part of the CI/CD. There's certain other technologies that I'll also include in the final uh, version of the product of I wouldn't say the product, but I'll say the product for now. But I'll see as time goes on. Third-party services that I'll also be using Stripe and PayPal, and hopefully I'll be deploying the back end in Roku, and I'll also be deploying the front end in Netlify. Okay, challenges that I've identified is got to do with the user roles and the hashing of tokens. Others, the implementation of Redux, and because there will be complex situations that I'm seeing. And I'll also be looking at the designing optimization once I've deployed it, particularly in the database, because a NoSQL database sometimes has certain behaviors that must be modified, that must be fixed here and there. So, and then also I'm looking at the CI/CD part of things, and I'm also looking at the integration of securing third parties, because once you're introducing a third party into your application, you're also introducing some um, other behaviors that must be monitored, that might change the overall performance of the application. And yes, and of course, um, I have to implement robust error handling um, during optimization of the application. Um, I plan to utilize 10 days rather than the 14 days in developing the application. It is just The reason why I chose 10 days is because I want to actually give an allowance, um, not necessary to utilize the entire 14 days. So it's easier to work when you have targets. You target, you aim for a shorter period of time rather than utilizing the entire 14 days. So that's the idea. I'm sure when you look at from day one up to day 10, we're looking at the initialization of the project all the way to the presentation of the project. So that's the idea behind what we're trying to do. And I've also used a Kanban workflow to um, show the plan that I hope to exercise. And in each of these tasks, there are subtasks that I've aligned with that. As you can see from here, all these others, they have subtasks in there, to which, due to the time that I'm looking at right now for the presentation, I won't have enough time to go through all these, but um, I'll provide the link for the Kanban workflow chart to so that you see what I have been doing. Okay, moving on. Like I was saying, I took a screenshot of this to just, but then this is the link to which the Kanban workflow board is, and I decided to generate some markups. These are actually generated. I used an AI to generate this, so just to give a feel of what um, my e-commerce platform will look like. There'll be parts where I'll have individual products being on display, and then there'll be parts where I display more than just one product, and there'll also be parts where the client can, or let me say the user rather than the client, will interact with us uh, personally, to which is a feature that I would want to have actually, depending on the time that I'll be allowed to build this, because as a developer, you want to you want the users to be able to have some FAQs, inquiry sections where they interact with the service provider pertaining queries with their products. And at the same time, they can also relay that or escalate those to, depending on whether it's the site itself, that can be escalated to the software developer, which is me, or it can escalate to the the service provider management, for example. So this section, that's what it will be for. And then, like I said, okay, this is the Kanban. Sorry about that. And this is another I wouldn't say plate, or I wouldn't say it, but like it's what it would look like. Um, kind of. We'll assume this fashion. Okay, with that, I've come to the end of my presentation, and I hope whatever outlined will go according to what I've planned. Thank you for your time. It's 9 minutes, 13 seconds.